I have two reports. The first report is that we had a fire, an attic fire, last weekend. And the fire department was called. There weren't any casualties, or anybody burnt or hurt. And they responded and put out the fire in time. This is for Pacific, and I'm grateful that we had the fire department on call as fast as they came, and I think they should be congratulated. The next item I have is I received an anonymous note, and this is what was written on it. The time has come. And there's a picture about the Auburn Reporter having a receptacle on each mail post for their newspaper. That's the picture that they have. Then it has 5 requests and questions. 1, why are we littering our city? 2, why are we delivering to homes that are not occupied? 3, why not pass an ordinance to make paper tubes for newspaper and shoppers mandatory? If residents don't want papers and plastic bags, why are they being forced down their throat? Do you council number 5, do you council members care about the appearance of our city? I suspect that I know who the person that delivered this slide.
Howard.
And he's not here tonight, all right.
Can I have quiet, please? I think he has a justifiable comment, and I think he's approached the council about, I would say, 3 times. I will work with the city clerk and the council attorney to draft up an ordinance, and hopefully we'll present it at the next meeting. That's all the reports I have. Finance Committee.
The city had our software program gurus here last week. Our computer was down the 3rd and 4th, and it was back up on Monday the 7th, and they were here all week working with us. There were many challenges. We were supposed to have 2 weeks and all the cross-training. We ended up with 1 week, and we'll have to do some of our own cross-training because we had 2 things going at once all week long. Needless to say, there were also some issues, and we're watching things very closely. Thus, the correction that you got today for the voucher approval, because it was noted that there were some issues with having numerous people working, doing the same thing, and some of them didn't quite work out right. So they were caught, the errors were caught, and the corrections are in your, were delivered to you this afternoon. They are on speed dial with us for the next 6 weeks, and to get us through the changes that have been made. Hopefully we won't have too many hiccups, and if anybody sees something, please share it so that we can fix it.
Thank you. Public Works?
I just want to, really all I want to do tonight is commend our public works crew. We had a water line break this week on Tacoma Boulevard, and they were out there real quick and repaired it.
That's a question. As a resident on Tacoma Boulevard, we've noticed some bits of air at my house and a couple of neighbors. Is
That was what caused it.
You noticed it wasn't there and lots of
Yeah.
Thank you.
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor. I have a public safety report.
Okay, you're next. Public Safety Department.
Okay, I'm going to be handing out some handouts here for you. So, I want to be sure that I speak loud enough that the mayor can hear me. I don't want anything misunderstood. Okay. Pass those out. Also, I will pass this around because we have a habit of being accused of using city copiers and whatever. So this information, here's my receipt where I paid for the copying. So we don't have any questions as far as that is concerned.
Big paper too, that's not cheap.
We get up to the public.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you. Okay. We have had the issue from the mayor and using the town of Fording. I went to the town of Fording, and I have a document here by the city administrator. The mayor said that, give me a second here. That the Fording had 7 1/4 officers in his flyer. That is true. There's 6, untrue, I mean, there's 6 1/4 officers. There is 1 officer that is assigned to the school, whose 75% of his salary is paid by the school, but yet he has a car and a radio. So he is in town, and any time that there is no school, spring breaks, summertime, whatever, he is an officer on the street in Ording. So basically, they do have 7 officers. Also, Ording's a little bit different than we are, is that all inbound and out streets are all patrolled by State Patrol and Pierce County. So they have State Patrol and Pierce County traveling in and out of their city all day long, 24 hours a day. It's kind of ironic because on my way out there, I seen a State Patrolman have a car pulled over in McMillan. So, now, you will find that there is an attachment here for Ording officers' base salaries. You will go to Mayor's Son's My Turn 5. My Turn 5, he lists a bunch of salaries here. Lieutenant Massey, for example, at $155,387.82. That is incorrect. That is what he was paid last year, 2012, when we were short of officers, so this includes all the overtime and all of the benefits and everything. So when he has brought this figure down here at the bottom, he also did not include Sergeant Pickett, which he paid $147,977.73 to, and Officer Sleesman, which he paid $85,847.92. Now we go back to John Calkins. We paid $136,946.45. The man only worked maybe about 3.5, maybe 4 months of the whole year. So that's a pretty good salary. So now he says that if he hires 2 more cops, it's going to cost $230,000. You will see that I have made a spreadsheet of all of the salaries. I have highlighted the base salaries, and then you can extend all the way over to the salaries, including benefits and everything. And so I am going to, I hope all the citizens have copies of this, and I want you people to do your own calculating and whatever against figures that their son is giving you, and you're going to find that you're being totally misled. Because there's no way that anything budgeted for 2013 match up with any of these figures that he has on here. So he's comparing apples to oranges. That completes my presentation on that, and I have more copies available here if people wish to have additional copies. End of my report.
Are you done?
On that particular subject, yes, sir.
I always thought that a government meeting pertaining to a council meeting, we don't debate on issue, on personalities and our personal correspondence that's outside of the city's realm. You're a council member and you're trying to...
Just a minute,
I'm speaking.
Well, I'm going to interrupt you because at last council meeting, you brought up Orty, to compare Orty. So I'm going to challenge you right now on your statement.
I don't want to challenge you in a council meeting. I'm going to say this. I'm going to sum it up. I didn't pick my numbers from the air. I picked my numbers from the document. There's a possibility that you've got another document that I don't have, and I have a document that you don't have. So we're just comparing apples and oranges, and we're just making an argument. I'm not here to make an argument. I'm here to carry out the city government. So I'm going to rest my case, and let's move on. The city council, have you anything to add?
Yes, Mayor and Council, a couple issues that I'd like to talk about right now. First one is authorization for the city attorney posting. I noticed in last Friday's paper that we have posted a request for a city attorney general legal services. It is my understanding, first off, I would like to know who directed this to be done.
Say it again?
Who directed the request for a city attorney's services be posted? The other point related to that is I don't remember any council meeting that we have had a council conversation related to requiring new city attorney services. So who directed the city to file a request for accepting new city attorney?
There's no request for accepting a new attorney. I asked the clerk to put out an LFOP just for my information. I wanted to see if there is a city attorney available, because my attorney told me that there's a possibility that we'd have to hire a new attorney. Now, I did it, and I didn't go any further than that, than just to hire an attorney. Until I'm ready to hire an attorney, I'll refer that to the council and get the council approval. Because the council has the final consent over city attorney. I don't consider Mr. Luce as my attorney for the city, because we have an impasse, because we have a problem. And I don't want to bring that into this council meeting.
Whoever wants to talk about it.
That something is foreign and away from this council meeting. Therefore, I asked the clerk to put an LFOP out so I have a feel of the attorneys that would be possible if there is a requirement.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, one, the city attorney position is a council-selected position. You are not, council can just correct me, or the city attorney can correct me, but you're not authorized to post for a city attorney position until either the council or the city attorney at present requests that we are giving either one of us 30 days notice that the services are no longer required, or he prefers to remove himself from the city attorney position. At which point then the council would submit the city clerk to apply for posting the city attorney's position. And then it would be beneficial at that point that the city council and the mayor work together in the selection process so that we can find a uniform attorney that we can both work with. But the reality is that you are not authorized to go. What are you doing? You're just going out and looking to see who's going to apply, but you can't select.
You want to make an argument of this?
Oh, absolutely.
You do.
Let's get one thing straight. You have chosen the avenue to use your blog for one item, to go out and have your say. You say the council meetings are not where this information should be aired, but it is absolutely the place in a public forum where people can ask the questions, challenge the statements, and it is publicly recorded, and the citizens can hear the answers.
Thank you.
You have chosen to use a one-way avenue to discuss and submit your position. And back to the original statement. I have my answer. You have directed the city clerk to look for city attorneys. We, the council, have not authorized that as a body. And as such, I, for one, will not support any avenue of this city going through an application selection process for a new city attorney until we determine that we being the council, want a new city attorney.
Can I ask a question of the attorney, as ironic as this may be? In my weekday life, I'm actually involved with a public project, it's actually a state project, so maybe there's a difference there, where an RFP has been issued and there's conversations about selecting none of the respondents to that RFP, and there's actually a fairly complicated discussion about whether or not the state opens itself to liability for issuing an RFP and then not selecting any of the respondents there. Is that, assuming that that's true on that end, I think it is, the Attorney General's office is involved, is that same dynamic applicable at the city level with something like this, where we issue an RFP if there's no real hope to actually select anyone?
I don't know. If the Attorney General is telling you that the state is liable for possible repercussions due to an RFP being issued, and there would be no position, then logically would assume that the city would have liability and responsibility as well. But until I verify that, I can only assume that to be true.
I've got two issues. First off, why is the city park closed all the way off?
Can you use the microphone, please?
Why is the city park closed all the way off? In the past, it's been city policy to leave the HESCOs up or leave the driveways open unless it was an imminent flood. That park is for the people. The city of Pacific leases that from King County for the citizens of the city.
Are you talking about the park?
I'm talking about the park, yes.
What are you talking about the park about?
Why is it closed off?
Because it's winter.
That doesn't make any difference at all.
That was a policy, and that's what the Bob Boyd did. He followed policy that was.
That's not been the policy.
It's a precedent. That at a certain time of the year, they close the park. Certain time of the year, they open the park.
This is the first year that park.
You want the park open up?
Closed. I want the driveways open so that people can get in there and walk their animals.
Okay, we'll open the park. I'll open the park tomorrow.
Thank you.
Second item.
Okay, you take the responsibility for liability in case something happens as far as the river is concerned. Fine. What you ought to request?
The other is not a request, it's a comment. You told several lies in your blog. Flat out lies. I'm going to ask the city attorney to read a copy of my 214.
What are you talking about now?
My turn 3.
I don't think we can hear you speaking at this.
My turn 3.
What about it?
Everything you said about me in that article is a flat out lie.
Well, I tell you what, why don't you show up your DD Form 214?
The attorney's going to read that right now.
Go ahead and read it.
Can you use the mic?
The DD 214 is a document issued by the federal government that outlines a person's military career. And the one I'm looking at belongs to Gary Wayne Holsey, who was in the Marine Corps. He was a Sergeant E5. He was discharged. He was with the
Security Company, Marine Barracks,
Security Company, Marine Barracks, Naval Station in San Francisco. The character of service was honorable. He, terminal date on this one is 26 April 1971. Date of entry 27 April 1965. He entered into a private and came out in E5. He was awarded the Good Conduct Medal. He was awarded the National Defense Service Medal. He was awarded the Republic of Vietnam Service Medal with stars. He was awarded the Republic of Vietnam campaign medal with device. He was awarded a Purple Heart, and he was awarded a PUC. And that's a Presidential Unit Citation. He was in the Field Artillery Operations and completed the NCO school, and then he re-enlisted in the Marine Corps, and it's signed by Gary and by W.Q. Henderson, First Lieutenant Commanding Officer, and it's dated 27 April 1971. It does appear to be a valid DD 214 for honorable service of Mr. Gary Holsey.
Okay. The reason why I asked you for that is because I talked to, I didn't talk to, but Corky, who's the executive for the Veterans of Foreign War, told me that you've never given them your 214 that they requested. That's the reason why
That's not exactly true either, because in order to hold an office...
you have to take that up with the Veterans of Foreign Affairs.
In order to hold an office, your proof of eligibility has to be on file with the adjutant at any level you're holding. There's a copy in my post, a copy of the district adjutant, a copy in the department adjutant, a copy in Nashville. And that's the last word I'm going to have about the VFW, because I've taken a note not to disclose the workings of this to any unauthorized person.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, the issue is dead.
I'm sorry?
Where is your 214, Mayor?
What did I hear from the warden?
I asked you, where is your 214? Nobody's seen that.
No.
We've had enough of military history, guys. Let's work on today.
No, I'd like to see it.
If we can move on and address this at a different issue,
It's
some of
going
the
up in
other
your
things
face.
that I have
Sometimes
mentioned,
it's
I haven't passed state commander for two major veterans organizations.
Nobody.
If anybody in the audience would like to see proof of that, I have my commission from one of the organizations, as well as a couple photographs that are pertinent to the issue. But I'm not going to waste any more of your time. Thank you very much.
Okay, I'm going to make a last comment.
No. That's not even yours.
Well, let him talk. Let him talk.
Go ahead.
Let him talk. Let him talk.
I'd like to break precedent here and briefly mention government working well. For anyone who missed it in the Auburn Reporter, the Valley Regional Fire Authority has finally been upgraded by the Washington Survey and Ratings Bureau to an improved protection class that going forward on your insurance renewals should result in lower property insurance costs within the city of Pacific. It's a recognition of several years, many years of improvements in the infrastructure and improvements in service level, the professional staffing, the combined staffing of the combined fire departments. It took several years to get all of that documented and build up enough of a track record for the Ratings Bureau to certify it. They're incredibly picky on their details. They go through the locations of your fire hydrants, the fire flow capacities of your pipes, the staffing level, the actual response times on real calls. So it's a testament to the professional management of the VRFA that they have finally achieved the improved protection class rating for the city of Pacific.
Thank you.
Just the mayor didn't turn in the paperwork.
The other thing I wanted to bring up, and I'd like to add this to next week's workshop agenda, so I just want to bring that up right now, is I'd like to have a discussion by the council related to the reorganization of a city government to a manager city council. I'd like to have that discussion starting next Monday at the workshop.
I have one more thing, Mr. Mayor. I put something together here that I'm gonna pass out, and it's probably more to help the mayor a little bit, I think. And what I've done is I have brought up the definitions of a lie, definitions of corruption, and definitions of the truth. And I'm gonna pass those out. Pass out the account. There's not enough to write.
Right.
And also, in addition, since Josh brought up I was gonna bring it up under the FRA.
Mayor didn't take a copy.
Is that, the city should probably put a flyer out, a suggestion by Eric Robertson, to put in the utility bills to advise the citizens that they should be contacting their insurance representative and making them aware that our rating did go from a 6 to a 4, so everybody should have a substantial reduction as far as their fire coverage is concerned. So his suggestion was is that we have Patty get a hold of him and have them put into the next utility with probably color so it can get somebody's attention. So I guess if the council wishes to direct her or have her do that, or the mayor, whoever is going to do it, if they wish to do that, follow his suggestion. His phone number is 288-5801. Also, there will be the fire flyer that goes out in February, and it will also be covered in that flyer. Okay.
Any other comments?
I've just got one, back to the subject about the newspapers and the driveways. You might touch base with Councilmember Guy, or she and I had a conversation about that last week, and she was gonna call the reporter to ask if they could do an opt-in or an opt-out, so that folks that wanted to receive that, the paper could still do so, but those who didn't have that. So, as you work with the council on that, Councilmember Geyer, I think, might have the most recent information.
Yeah. Thank you. Committee boards, park board, Sherry?
No, you can go first. Then I'll go.
I can address things.
Yeah.
I didn't address things. Sherry Kaysen, Commissioner on the Park Board, 422 Chicago Boulevard South. I have two things. I was not in charge. I helped coordinate Earth Day last year, and after Earth Day, I know this is a long time away because it's almost ready again, but I commissioned this scrapbook to be made of all the events of Earth Day. It's got all of our council's pictures in it, and everybody's samples and everything of what we did, and that will be available. I'm not sure exactly where it's going to be yet, but it's a really pretty scrapbook. It's up here if you want to look at it after the meeting. Then on Pacific Days, the Park Board was requested to have a survey. So we handed out a total of 113 surveys, and I would like to just very briefly give you some of the results of that survey. The total survey, which is a very large Excel spreadsheet, thank you to my daughter Ann, is posted on the Park Board Facebook page, which is City of Pacific Park Board in Facebook. And all the survey results, both written and in pie charts, colored pie charts, are on that survey on our Facebook page. We had 113 surveys. Age of the respondents, I'm going to read just the highlights, the main one of each one. The 36 to 64-year-olds, we had 51 respondents. How many times a month did you visit the parks? We had 41 people say they visited only once or twice a month. That was the most. How long did they stay? 62 people said they stayed an hour to 2 hours. Who did they go with? 68 said family. 42 said friends. 43 said pets. So it's pretty over the same. What was their favorite thing to do? 43 used it for children. Used the play area for children. The other answers were walking their dog, picnics, birthday parties, visiting the river. And we asked, why didn't they visit the park? We got very little response on that one. Only 6 people was the most response, and they said nothing to attract them. And many thought that the city park was our only park. They thought it was the only park in the city because it's the big one. And nobody knew that we had other ones. Choosing an improvement that they would like, the biggest thing that they wanted was a dog park. 54 people wanted a dog park. 49 wanted more picnic or barbecue areas. 46 wanted a skate park for their teenagers. 33 went volleyball, and it went on down from there. Other suggestions were soccer, graffiti wall, horseshoe pits, more and safer toys for little kids. Then we asked for just suggestions. The 13 to 20-year-olds wanted park names posted, signs. The 21 to 35-year-olds want more dog waste stations mostly, covered areas and exercise areas. The 36 to 64-year-olds, they want a walking path, and they want park signs. They also want recycling containers. The 65 up, that's me, senior citizens, want an enclosed covered area to rest and a dog park. So like I said, the total report of this is on the Facebook. I can also email it to anyone that wants it. I have it on my email at work. I can be more than happy to email it to anybody who's requesting that. It's individual tabs on the Excel sheet for each question, and then a summary of the tabs in a pie chart form. So that is available to both the public and the council if anybody wants to see it. Now it's your turn, Kim.
Park Board version 2. I'm Kate Hull, 102 Alder Lane South, and I'm here to address the vacancy on the Park Board. We have had a vacancy for more than 7 months now. There have been people who have applied for our vacancy, but it's my belief that the mayor has to send the option to you, the council, and it appears like the mayor hasn't found time yet. So,
Go ahead.
Okay. So, there has been another applicant within the last week. So we were wondering when we might be able to get our vacancy filled, because we have events this year. Now that we know the city is continuing on, we have the Earth Day on April the 27th, and you're all invited. Sherry is heading that. We will be at Pacific Days again in July, and Don Blackwell will be heading that up. And then we have a day of service in October, and our new person will be heading that up, we decided. In your packet, you will find the year in review. We did a lot of great things last year, but as the city started infighting, we didn't seem to do as much in the fall as we did in the spring. But the things we really want to highlight is our maintenance. This is the first year that we'll be responsible for the maintenance of all parks. There are no more parks that have that sweet developer money. The signage for the parks. I know that our Public Works Director is looking in to the signage so we can tell where Elsie Park is. Does anyone on the council know where Elsie Park is?
Or Blueberry.
Well, yeah, Blueberry we all know. It's down by the Blueberry field. So we hope to have signage for our parks, the kiosk for our 3rd Avenue trailhead. Hi, Josh. It'll be on his corner. And also, We would like to get the parks on the city web once the technology group. We did have a guest at our park meeting last week, which was Trent, and he said we could come and present to the technology committee meeting on the 30th. So that is all that I have. What have I missed, ladies?
No, that's pretty well covered.
That's pretty much it. So, vacancy, we have a really big question about maintenance. We now have 17 parks? 13 parks, and so far maintenance last year was done on 3.
Yes.
Which means there are 14 parks out there that the neighbors have been doing the maintenance on, and/or no maintenance has been done on the parks. We had a nice group come last year who cleaned one of the parks, and all we needed was to go out there and put some sod down. Due to difficulties, we never got out there to get that sod down, and so all of their work went for naught because the weeds are back. And we do not feel comfortable asking for community help in cleaning the parks if the parks are going to go back to wild status in less than 3 months. So if we could get some maintenance, we'd love it. Thank you. I take questions. I don't have answers.
Okay, Mike,
Go ahead, I was gonna ask her a question when you're done.
go ahead.
I recall it's been probably 2 years or more now, back when I sat where Gary's sitting, we had done an adoption of a new fee schedule.
Yes.
And the council turned down a recommendation from the Parks Board, and we asked you all to maybe go back and either justify the numbers, I don't remember all the details. Was that something that kind of fell off the list, or you all looked at it and decided not to pursue it?
So you mean the fact that we wanted to lower the cost of renting the parks?
Yeah, the details aren't sticking in my brain.
So, yeah, the treasurer is better to tell you, but I believe last year, through rental, we raised about $900. And in order to encourage other groups to use the parks, we said if you were if you lived in the city, it should be down further, so we would encourage more people to get out to the parks. And the answer to that was, well, it is what it is. And so, yeah, we did. We dropped it because we knew that from taking a poll of the city council that we weren't going to get the fees to be lower. But we can try again.
Well, it still sticks in my brain as one of those things that
we couldn't find a city that gave the discounts that we wanted. We did poll, and some people will give 15%, but 15% when you're asking for, and this is the wrong number, I'm going to use a number that's easy to tell you what 15% is. When you're asking $1,000 a day to rent a park, and then you're going to offer it for $850, and as Councilmember Halsey said, the bathrooms have always been closed, and it's the only park, our city park, that has bathrooms, and they are closed between October 1st and April 1st. No one wants to rent a park when you cannot go to the bathroom. It's a problem.
You good? No, go ahead.
No, I didn't.
You don't have any? I got a question. To close the park, Bob Boyd came up to me and said this is the day to close the park, and he went down and closed the park, and I asked him what authority did he have. He said he had this is a precedent at this date from the park board. Is that right?
No.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
No.
Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry, Paula. She doesn't have she has an answer.
Well, I might. Generally the city parking, the bathrooms are closed from right before the first rains till about till early April, because it's not very usable, and the maintenance probably is super high compared to the amount of usage it gets. So that has been a standard. procedure, is that the bathrooms aren't open, and vandalism is probably the biggest reason why. Another issue that may have come before the council and it was on our to-do list was park impact fees, revisiting what we're charging new construction and both residential and commercial in park impact fees, revisiting how we arrived at that number and making sure that our math is correct. I believe there's some question as to whether we needed to revisit it. And so that would also require staff and potentially the attorney to check that out, look at some other jurisdictions. So I've been collecting some information from other cities on a variety of things, because that's where we start generally, being a small jurisdiction with limited resources. So that is something that we really should take a look at again when we have the ability to spend some time with it. Thank you.
Any other comments for the park? I have here civil service, no representative. Planning commission, no representative. South King County Transportation Board, no representative. Pierce County Regional Council, let's see, let's see here. Suburban City Association, no representative.
Leanne's the representative, I'm alternate, and they haven't had their first meeting of the year yet.
Yeah, she's not here. The Valley Regional Fire Authority, Councilmember Walker had a comment or had some information. He's not here, so we'll move on to the public hearing.